Lumberjacks is sponsored by Echo, only professional grade with 5-year warranty. Crown, protect, maintain, save. Dickies, quality workwear since 1922. Yamaha, rev your heart.
We're here in Lindsay, Ontario at the 35th annual Fleming Loggersports competition and the exciting conclusion. In total, we have 7 different schools from all across Eastern Canada competing in 13 different events. We have some singles events, some doubles events, and we're about to get started with some of the team sawing events. Well, this fall classic held here on the Frost campus of Sir Sanford Fleming College in Lindsay, Ontario is held every November, specifically the first weekend in November, with over 200 college athletes from across Eastern Canada. Right now in the women's standings, we have McGill University leading University of New Brunswick by 77 points as we head into the final team events. In the men's standings, we have UNB leading Dalhousie University from Truro, Nova Scotia by a mere 24 points, and it's anybody's game. Right now, we're going to be heading into the Swede Saw event. It's a team event. We're going to be showing you a couple of heats from the women's division and a couple of heats from the men's division. And this week, I'm joined by our television analyst, Dave Johns from upstate New York. And Dave, you're a graduate from the college system. You know these events well. These team events are truly that. They're team events working all as one.
Absolutely. This is a 6-person team. They have to each make one cut through the 6x6 quaking aspen log up here. Look at these cuts. The extreme angle over there by Fleming College over on the left of your screen with DAC, Dalhousie Women's Ones team on your right.
A little bit of a stutter there on the left-hand side with the Fleming team. She's also letting go of the bow once in a while. You got to grab onto that bow. You got to hold it tight and make sure that you keep that saw in the wood where it's going to be cutting wood.
Absolutely. That Dalhousie team, you saw them go back to try to cut a little bit of that wood that was on the bottom there. They deemed it uncuttable. We'll have to see what the head judge says at the end of this one, if it was cuttable or not, Bill.
On the left-hand side, we have Nadine Perron cutting cut number 4 for the Fleming team. On the right-hand side, Nova Scotia holding pace with them exact same time.
Yeah, as we progress through this team event, a lot of the anchor cutters are the best cutters with that stellar technique, that roll the nose over, pull that far wood back into yourself, getting a lot of those chips to fly through each of these cuts.
The Fleming College team on the left-hand side is now in their last cut. Dalhousie just starting their last cut right now. Looks like Fleming's going to take this heat, and they do with a time of 1 minute and 10 seconds to take the first heat of the women's Swede Saw, with still a couple more teams to come, including the University of New Brunswick team led by Megan McKinley, and then, of course, the McGill team heading up next.
Wow, and this bow saw in this heat on that UNB team is a little different. You see there's a handle on that other side. That's going to make these transitions even faster than we saw in that first heat, Bill.
Well, UNB has been doing this for a number of years. Look at that bow saw, the way it's set up. They don't have to hand off like all the other teams hand off with someone coming in from behind. They're literally going to set, but they're having struggles on that cut. Cut number 2 here on UNB. They've lost all their advantage with the handoffs by doing another cut here.
Yeah, absolutely, and you saw she hung in that first cut too. These are peg and raker saws. Those raking teeth are not sharp on these, so if you change your angle too drastically, they will hang up like you saw in that first cut.
McGill on the right-hand side is way ahead of UNB at this stage of the game as they head into their final cuts. McGill is trying to put the finishing touches on this race right now. They've got one more cut. That is the 5th cut. Here comes the 6th cut by Jessica Rouleau.
Wow, they are smoking UNB right now. I thought with that handle over there, they'd have a major advantage, but wow, what a cut by McGill.
And McGill's gonna win it with a 50.37. Well, clearly the class of the field with 100 points for McGill on winning that Swede Saw event, 74 points second place, and third place with 72 points for Fleming College. McGill extends their lead on the overall standings as we head into the first of 2 heats for the men's Swede Saw. Exact same rules, except these big boys are now cutting through the big boy wood at 8x8 trembling aspen.
Yeah, Bill, we have UNB versus McGill in this one. Redemption, hopefully, for UNB with that saw over there on the left side of your screen. Wow, what a fast cut by both teams in that first cut.
Fantastic handoffs. As I mentioned earlier, they've been doing this for years and nobody else is caught on right now. A little bit smoother, a little bit slicker for the men as opposed to the women. And UNB's already into their 3rd cut. McGill is trailing behind right now.
Yeah, as long as they keep that saw nice and flat, I don't see that handle becoming a problem. But you put a steep angle on that, you might bash the ground and actually bounce out of that cut, Bill.
Well, UNB is well ahead right now. They're just about to head into their 5th cut, and the anchor for this team is going to be Pat McMacken on the 6th cut. McGill is struggling there, just heading into their 5th cut right now.
Yeah, it looks like the technique is way more stellarly sound over there on the left side, UNB. Look at the pace! McMacken is flying through that cut, and they will take the heat.
And McMacken ends the UNB run with a 49.19 to set the time to beat. So you guys are the only ones that have the two-sided bow saws there with the handoffs. Just tell me how much that, I mean, you won the heat, obviously. How much does it help you?
I think it's a great advantage, and I'm surprised not many other teams do it. It helps us get quick handoffs to the other guy, and you're not setting it off awkwardly.
Well, the final heat in the men's bow saw is going to feature Fleming College, the host school here at the annual Loggersports competition here in Lindsay, Ontario, taking on DALHOUSIE Agricultural Campus from Truro, Nova Scotia.
Yeah, again, Bill, these are 8x8 trembling aspen logs. So this is a lot of pressure or a lot of pace you got to put on them to get these Swede saws to fly through this cut. It looks like advantage to Fleming right now coming into cut 2.
And look at the pace on the right-hand side by the Fleming team. An incredible pace. On the left-hand side, DALHOUSIE Agricultural Campus trying to keep up right now, and they can't. And a little bit of a mistake there is going to cost them more time.
The hips are just a-flying for Fleming over there on Station 2. They are flying through this cut right now. It is going to be tough to beat them.
Fleming College on the right-hand side, now on cut number 4. DALHOUSIE still trying to catch up right now. The anchors are going to be Eric Butson and Tim Shasma in the red for Fleming College on the right.
As these guys keep going down the list of competitors, usually the anchors are at the end, the fastest guys. It's going to come down to these last 2 Sawyers. Who's it going to be at the end?
Connor Morse from Nova Scotia on the left-hand side is catching up to Fleming right now. It's going to be a photo finish. Looks like Nova Scotia just edged out Fleming with a 52.29 over 52.72. What a tremendous photo finish there with DALHOUSIE and Fleming going at it, 94 and 93 points respectively. But it was UNB, the class of the field, getting 100 points in the overall standings. Here's Loggersports athlete Nadine Perron.
Fish and Wildlife program's awesome. The campus is amazing. So Fish and Wildlife people do a full year of school. We do minnow collection, bait fish collection during our summer and plant collection, and we come into the fall into 5 weeks of field school. And it's an asset to, you know, future when we leave school, because a lot of people graduate after 2 years of having field experience in our field doing what we would do.
One of the team events here this weekend is called Pulp Throwing, and we throw them in the pits. Each team is comprised of 6 people, 3 people on each end of the pits. In the women's division, these pits are now 16 feet apart. They've got to score 48 points by throwing these pieces of pulp in the shortest time as possible. In the women's division here this weekend, Dalhousie University came in with a time of 2.07.20 seconds for 100 points. And Fleming 1 finished second with UNB and 81 points, finishing a close third.
Yeah, Bill, now in the men's division, we back the big boys up another 4 feet. They're throwing it 20 feet with 30 to 40 pound pulp logs. They still got to throw 48 points. That's 48 logs between the stakes. They don't make it in the stakes. They got to pull them back out and re-throw them. Fastest time takes home the points, and Fleming 1 accomplished that with a time of 2 minutes 55 seconds, with Dalhousie 1 and 2 in second and third.
Welcome back to Lindsay, Ontario for the 35th annual Loggersports competition on the campus of Sir Sanford Fleming College. We are heading into the last couple of events. Right now we're going to be covering the women's crosscut saw. This first heat, when we're showing you 2 heats, is the University of New Brunswick taking on McGill University. 6 cuts per team, but now they're working in pairs, Dave.
Yeah, they got to make 2 cuts per pair. So transitions are key in this. You got to use every tooth on the saw. Both teams finishing the first cut right in a row.
Well, the very first cut from McGill University on the right-hand side, they snapped the cut, but as long as they cut 6 by 6 inches of wood, they're good to go. Both teams now on their middle pair of competitors, and the log slips on the right-hand side of the McGill team, and they have a hard time finishing that cut.
Yeah, they had uncuttable wood, it looked like. At the bottom there, you still see some frays of fiber. As long as the judge determines it was not cuttable, they will have a complete cut. It looks like UNB will take the first heat.
Tess, great race there. You won by quite a bit in that heat. Just tell me about how aggressive you guys are with that saw. It was dropping quickly.
Yeah, we really worked on keeping it level and putting a lot of weight on it. That saw is sharp and it'll take a lot of weight, so we piled it on.
Well, that time set by UNB in the first heat of 27.69 is going to be a tough one to beat. This next heat, which is the final heat in the women's crosscut saw, Fleming College versus DALHOUSIE Agricultural Campus.
Yeah, the only way they're going to be able to chase down UNB is by limiting their mistakes. Here we go into this next heat, and wow, big hang over there by DALHOUSIE. That's going to cost them a lot of time, Bill.
Absolutely, it's going to cost them some time. They're another stutter right now. They're not keeping the saws flat. You got to keep the saws flat, otherwise they're going to jam the rakers, and that just costs seconds. 27.69 is the time to beat, and both teams keep hanging up.
Yeah, it is Hang City out here right now at Fleming. You have got to keep those saws flat. Those raking teeth are not sharp. They're only meant to rake out the scored wood that the cutting teeth make throughout these cuts. This is a big learning experience for all these ladies.
Both these teams are now on their last pair of competitors. DALHOUSIE in the left on their last cut. Fleming trying to catch up right now. Looks like they have caught up, and they're going to pass them. Looks like Fleming's going to win this heat, and they do with a 44.42. What an outstanding race by two teams.
What an intense heat.
Nadine, good cut and great race there with Nova Scotia right behind you. New Brunswick won that a little bit, but just tell me about your guys' cut and your handoffs.
It was all right. Handoffs are key though, so getting that meshing. We practiced a lot of handoffs, how to, which hand you're leaving first and grab on, but yeah, that's about.
What a couple of great heats of women crosscut sawing. It was UNB that was flawless, though, winning by 29 points over McGill and a little bit more than that for Fleming. You can't make any mistakes if you want to win events. Now, there's a couple of schools coming up right now that are hoping not to make any mistakes, including McGill and University of New Brunswick and the men's crosscut saw. Once again, Dave, the rules are the same, except the timbers are bigger. Now they're sawing through 8x8 timbers.
Yeah, that's right, Bill. 2 cuts each pair on this 8x8 timber. Look at McGill just flying through that cut over on the left side of your screen.
That first pair of competitors gave them a big lead. UNB is trying to play catch-up right now. UNB is on their third cut on the right-hand side, and McGill is now on their fourth cut. UNB is now taking the lead.
Wow, UNB just pulled off a 6-swing cut over there on position 2. They have now taken the lead, and wow, what a comeback for UNB.
UNB comes in with a 25.90 to set the pace in the men's crosscut. Graham, good cut there. You beat everybody in the heat there. Just tell me about it.
It was real good. We only had one hang-up in our first set. Everything else was free-stroke cookies. Couldn't ask for anything better.
What about your handoffs in general and how you practice that?
We have a middle set of left-handed guys, so it's opposite handoffs. Whereas most schools, they have right-handed people, so they have to step in from behind them, where we can just step in right from in front of each other. So it makes it a lot easier.
Well, the boys from Fredericton, New Brunswick come in with a 25.90, pretty much a flawless cut. Right now, it's the last heat of the men's crosscut saw. Fleming taking on DAC.
Yeah, and there was very limited places where they could make up time on UNB, but one place is in transitions and not hanging the saw. We're going to see what Fleming can bring to the party in this heat.
DALHOUSIE on the left-hand side now into their second pair of competitors on cut number 3. Fleming on the right-hand side now into cut number 3 with their second pair of competitors. A little bit of a stutter there for DALHOUSIE on the left.
Oh, that was more than a little bit of a stutter. It looked like the whole camp moved over there for DALHOUSIE. They've got to get that team anchoring that log down, Bill.
Connor Morris on the left-hand side with Scott Withrow, and DALHOUSIE University wins the second and last heat of the men's crosscut saw with a 26.73. One of your cookies seemed to explode there. I'm not sure if yours on your cut or not, but just tell me about that cut in general.
I didn't really see it. We were really happy with our cut with the team there. We had one cookie that hung up a little bit, slowed us down a second or so, but just putting so much weight on that saw, causing that cookie to really blow off, trying to get the best out of that saw as we can when we're sawing, so that extra pressure sometimes caused it to blow up. But we got 6 clean cookies, so we're happy with the time.
Well, look at the race for first place there between UNB and DALHOUSIE University. Only 3 points, but 100 points going to UNB in the overall standings. Welcome back to the last event of the weekend here at Fleming College, here at the Loggersports competition. Actually, the 35th annual held here in Lindsay, Ontario. We are into the log roll event. We are going to be showing you the top 2 heats in the women's log roll, starting with the Fleming 1 women's team right now. They got about a 200-pound log, Dave. It's red pine, about 12 inches in diameter. This thing's no easy feat to get this log up and down the course, hitting the stakes at the end of the ramps.
No, it is not, Bill. These ladies have got to try to keep it on the track to be able to hit those stakes as fast as possible. possible. With a 200-pound log, they're gonna have a heck of a time transitioning it back up this ramp. You see them trying to get it back on the track centered right now, because if it goes into that deck up on top, it is gonna cost them a lot of time.
It's going to cost them a disqualification. And the tools they're using are called PFs, or also referred to as cant hooks as well. This is, of course, simulating the old lumberjacks, you know, basically putting the logs up onto a ramp so they can be loaded onto the truck or the rails or whatever they had to move those logs onto. And right now, this is a technique that some of the college athletes use. They get behind it, and they use the arm of the PV or the cant hook to get it into the notch up top to hand off their tools to the next pair of competitors.
Yeah, right there. They are in the danger zone right now with that tip precariously close to the inside of that deck, Bill. And these ladies aren't allowed to use any of their body parts in this event. They have to only use the cant hook. So you see everybody just kind of just cautiously hitting it on the top and not letting it touch their body, because if they do, it'll be a big time penalty handed out by the head judge.
Well, one of the keys to success in this event is managing the diameter of the log. This is not a lathe turn log where it's exactly symmetrical, as is a thicker end and a thinner end, which means it doesn't roll straight exactly like that. They did not manage the end, and it went right through the course there. They got to pick it up and jam it against the stake before they head back up the rails.
Yeah, I was just about to compliment them about getting it centered on top of the deck right off the bat before it rolled down, but it just got a little out of control. One of the sides of this log is a little bit bigger than the other, so that end rolls a little faster than the other side. They didn't account for that as it headed down the deck.
And every team has got to watch the team before them, and even watch the teams before them, because that is the way they can learn how to do the event. And Fleming right now clocks in with 1 minute and 44 seconds to set the pace to beat in the log roll. And next up is going to be the DAC 2 team. Actually, there's so many different names for the school. Old school is Nova Scotia Agricultural College. I sometimes refer to them as DALHOUSIE University at the Agricultural Campus in Truro, Nova Scotia. Well, that's who they are. We're going to call them DAC for the rest of the way. Right now, the team time to beat is 1:44 in the log roll event, set by the Fleming 1 women's team right now. And these women got a great start right now. They're controlling the log, and they're also noticing that one end is thicker than the other, and it's going to advance faster than the other end.
Yeah, Bill, this first pair has been all about control, dragging their PVs on top of the log to slow it down the ramp off that first one. And here we go. They're doing the same thing here on this second pair.
Excellent control by Hillary Schramm and the blue toque on this pair of competitors. As they make their way back up, they hit the stakes exactly right on the way down, and now they're on the way back up. They got to control the log, and of course the left-hand side has got to advance a little bit more to get it level so they can get up on the ramp and hand off to the third pair of competitors.
Bill, this women's 2 team is really impressive in the log rolling category. You can tell these ladies are all on the same page. They've been practicing it a lot. Whoa, coming down a little crazy down the deck. Spoke a little too soon. They're going to have to go for the cross haul.
They're going to go for the cross haul about 4 or 5 feet there, smash up against the other stake, and they're on their way back up. They did hit both stakes there. Good control on the left-hand side, getting it back up the ramp. They're even Steven right now with the log going up the ramp. They're going to have a good time.
Wow, the one lady got caught inside the ramp. She's going to have to hurdle over it, get it pushed and go, go, go. No, let it flop inside the deck. One more push to do it, and time.
They come in with a time of 1.17 seconds to take the lead and win the women's log roll deck. What a fantastic showing for the Dalhousie women number 2 team here, winning log rolling with 100 points. UNB coming second with 90 points, and the Dalhousie number 1 team third with 77 points. As we head into the men's division right now, Dave, a little bit increase in size and diameter and in weight right now. We got about a 13-inch trembling aspen log. What's the weight on that bad boy?
I'm guessing anywhere from 400 to 500 pounds. It looks fresh. It looks heavy. Look at these guys go, though. That thing is commanding them right down the deck.
It's commanding them right down the deck. Now they're headed back up already. They hit the stakes at the exact same time, and they are now working in unison. They got to communicate with each other. Alex has got to get it on the outside of the ramps and get it set in his notch so they can hand off to their next pair of competitors.
Oh, a little bit of trouble there getting it in the notch, but here we go. Communicating down the ramp again, trying to keep it on the deck to have it hit both stakes. Good hits by both those competitors. They're bringing it back the other way.
Looks like the competitor on the left-hand side had a little bit of a slip and a fall there. Once again, in unison. The guy on the right-hand side is going to have to get outside of the ramp right now. They do. Look at the communication. It's exactly like they want to do it, working in unison to get it up there the ramp together.
Wow, it has got to be tough to be the same height as that log going up the deck, but those boys both made it look easy. Oh, a little bit of a miss down here on the follow down the deck. Now they've got the main face of the log hit. They're heading back the other way.
A little bit of a cross haul, probably go 4 or 5 inches there, cost them a little bit of time. Once again, get up to the ramp and work on unison. Communicate with your partner is the key to be able to hit it with your PV at the exact same time and into that notch.
Now this is just pure grit and tenacity by these boys. Get that log up the deck, into the notch, and time.
And they clock in a time of 1 minute and 12 seconds. An excellent standard to set here as we head into the final heat of the men's log roll. It's going to be Team UNB, the boys from Fredericton. These are the guys that take down the overall standings right now. A good showing in here is going to guarantee them a first place win in this competition.
Wow, a little bit of different technique coming down the ramp that time, using just the main pole of their PV. Wow, look at that little bump method by those boys, Bill.
That's a bump method that is used by most experienced teams, and those are the guys who've been practicing and a little bit of a skill. Just like in the bow saw handoff, they've developed a tool that nobody else is doing. Well, some people should use that as well.
Yeah, that was really fancy of them. They got that log position going the right way. Now it's coming back down the deck. It's hit both the stakes, already on the return with another one of those little bumps.
Excellent communication and skill by the guys from UNB right now. And oh, they're struggling to get up the ramp. Once again, 400 pounds of rolling dead weight. It just wants to come back on you right now. They're using the points of their PVs to get it up top. Bernard on the right-hand side. It's about to hand off to Pat McMacken.
Pat McMacken, he has been a counterpoint of this team all day long with Graham Green. They've got it down there. Boom! Both hits on that far side with another bump on the return.
And they got to work in unison, get there. Another bump before they get to the ramp to get it things level and work in unison at the top there. Pat McMacken has got to watch out on the right-hand side. They get it into the notch in time, and UNB wins a men's log rolling in deck with a time of 1:05.84. All three pair competitors went all the way down the rails, hitting the bars properly. Tell me about the discussion on hitting those rails properly on the way down.
Well, we knew it was going to be a big, heavy log, so we just wanted to run it even and then wait till we hit the pins and then wait for the small end, which was on this side, to pop. And then we can get ahead and then we'd run it up. And we decided to do that as a group, and it worked for all three. So.
And what a great experience showing from the guys from University of New Brunswick, winning by 10 points over the team from McGill University in Montreal, Quebec, with 100 points in the overall standings.
All right, now the crown pivotal point is the Fleming men log roll and decking team. 2 minutes and 10 seconds, only good enough for 50 points. Home field advantage was not an advantage today.
And the overall standings are now in the books. The spread between the top two women's teams was only 33 points, and the spread between the top two men's teams, 38 points. What a great competition.
Yeah, Bill, that means our Lumberjacks of the day would be the McGill Women's 1 team with 1,069 points and the UNB Men's 1 team with 1,164 points.
And many thanks to the School of Environmental and Natural Resources Science here in Lindsay, Ontario for hosting this event for 35 straight years. Come back again next week when it'll be time for Lumberjacks.
Lumberjacks is sponsored by Echo, only professional grade with 5-year warranty. Crown, protect, maintain, save. Dickies, quality workwear since 1922. Yamaha, rev your heart.
Now in its third year at the Fleming Loggersports competition is the choker race. Competitors are going to start behind that red line over there, and they're going to run along these boom logs over the first bunk log and pick up a boom chain on the second bunk log. Then they're going to come back over the second bunk log, come over here along these booms, and put the boom chain inside this square hole right here. Pull it up tight to make sure the boom chain is set correctly. Then they're going to pick up a choker cable, come back over here along the boom logs, over the first bunk log, and set the choker cable on the second bunk log to end the event.